Welcome to the Two Fat Guys and Album Podcast, your weekly dive into iconic albums and our search for the modern classics. As of this recording, it was 58 years ago tomorrow that their 8th studio album, taught the band to play. The album has never gone out of style, but it's guaranteed to raise a smile. So may I introduce to you the album you've known all these years, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That's right. Today we are talking the Beatles. That will be our main album. On side 2, we will talk about some new music that I am very happy is coming out, as well as a concert that we just had the pleasure of experiencing. And then side 3, we'll be looking at Pretty Odd by Panic at the Disco, which is a nice album to complement Sgt. Pepper's. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more reviews, in-depth discussions, and music analysis from two fat guys who love talking about music no matter the genre. I am Mike Blackburn. I will be your host and narrator, and with me, as always, is my good friend, the maestro of music, the siren of sound, the doctor of the diminished chord, Brek Hufnus. Welcome, Maestro.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 20.
20, the big 20.
Didn't think we'd ever make it.
No.
This podcast is almost legal drinking age.
Almost.
Yeah, we're almost there.
It's a big day. Big day, big album, big day.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So last episode we talked about Automatic for the People.
Yep, REM.
And then you gave us an interesting take on the secondary album, which was my pick, which was by the...
Can't even remember their name, can you?
No, I got it. I was just kind of walking you there, so you didn't get overly excited.
There's no danger of that,
but
go on.
The fine Canadian band, the Sheepdog.
Yes, their album Changing Colors. So for those, if you've missed that episode, first of all, you must go back, listen to that episode. It's fantastic. But the future of the show depends on it. And by the show, I mean you. Because you liked the Sheepdogs album.
I did.
I liked it less. I'm putting a challenge out to the listeners to listen to this album because we need I think a referee in this situation. And we would like you to leave comments on whether you like the Sheepdogs Changing Colors album. You'd have 2 weeks to do this, to be fair. And then if it goes my way, I will be making a retaliatory album pick in the future.
Ooh.
And if not, then I sit corrected.
All right. That's... So does that mean I probably have Sister Hazel in my future?
You have Sister Hazel looming. You have the sword of Sister Hazel / Damocles above your head as we speak. Mm-hmm. And I will be actually going to see Sister Hazel live in concert this coming up weekend. You're welcome to join us if you like. It's a free concert. It's your favorite type.
I think I'm out of town.
Okay.
It is my favorite type, and should make a large statement that they are performing for free.
That doesn't...
Anywho.
It makes no such statement.
It makes a huge
Did you
statement.
know, because not to preempt whatever fascinating
go
things you have in your hand there, but you've been known in the past to make statements about rock being dead. You are a known rock is dead proclaimer.
I would have to say I believe that the era of rock, the age of rock has passed. There might be some leftover remains scattered about, but the era has ended.
Do you know that there is a rock album sitting atop the Billboard #1 charts as we speak?
And that would be by?
That would be by Sleep Token, Even in Arcadia. Currently a Billboard #1 album. and it's somewhat of a metal album. Even it's not even like a pop rock-ish type album.
So this is sort of a lame. I mean, this is a lame argument when you talk about the rock era, the preeminence of music being rock music for a couple of decades, and then you say, look, there's one example of one album.
Well, but that was your definition.
Win.
It's like, oh, there haven't been any rock albums on the Billboard number one.
No, I never said that.
And again,
never said that.
And again, I agree wholeheartedly that 70s and 80s rock is dead, unless you like the Sheepdogs, in which case, listen to the album. Let's bring back 70s and 80s rock. Did you know this is actually the second rock album to top the Billboard charts this year?
You gonna say like the Rolling Stones?
The Rolling Stones, because if I did say the Rolling Stones, you would just say, yeah, but that's a band that's about to be dead within the decade. So if I did say the Rolling Stones, that would not advance my argument. I am talking about current bands that are very popular.
Sure, go on.
Ghost's Skeleton.
Yeah.
Became the first hard rock album to top the Billboard 200 charts in over 4 years, to your argument. So now, in just the past 3 weeks, we've had 2 rock albums topping the Billboard album charts.
Apparently, this podcast is starting to influence people to embrace rock music again.
I think so.
That's pretty awesome. I did see the Skeleton album, and I
chose to withhold that information.
No, not at all. But I didn't know if that would fall into your.
It's a rock band. Oops. Somebody's baseball bat just fell on the floor.
Yeah. We'll get it. I didn't know if that music was. I'm a little gun shy these days with introducing you to new music.
Are you?
You are.
No, I think
you've gotten extremely harsh in your old age.
I think. Hey, I have said you are welcome to your opinion. If you like this album, that's fine. I'm just curious to know if anybody else in the world likes this album.
It's a fun, harmless album. I thought it was kind of cool that it paid homage to some of these other kind of bands and musical tastes. You took a different spin on it.
I did.
In a harsh and angry way.
Because when I suggest albums, I try to pick good ones.
All right. Fair.
But that's...
Any other nuggets first?
No, I think those are... Well, I have actually... I could go on forever, but...
No, we do have a monster album kind of staring us in the face here to get to. But,
yes.
I sent you a news article this week, which I found fascinating and disturbing and interesting, and I'm not sure where the industry is really going, but it was a news article kind of pointing out the fact that iHeartRadio had declared for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yes.
And this is after, several other, the big mass station owners are also experiencing financial difficulty or shutting down stations, et cetera. Cumulus shut down a number of stations.
Yes. And iHeartRadio is a massive radio conglomerate, right? I mean, they own lots and lots and lots of stations across North America.
So that kind of struck an interesting chord with me. Is this are we watching the demise of terrestrial radio?
Well, and iHeartRadio also has streaming and all sorts of other things going on as well. But yeah, I think terrestrial radio's been on the ropes for a little while. I guess it's you look at it first of all, it's just a business decision. Like, number one, this is a business decision. They've decided to declare bankruptcy and, do whatever's involved legally with all that. You would think consolidating all these radio stations, which I'm generally against, because now you have just, there's less independence. There's less, you have, say, one program director for the entire country or the entire continent. And so, you've got limited input on types of music that are being played.
Correct. It becomes background music. It becomes almost I don't know if this is still a term people use today, but music.
Yeah, sure.
It becomes elevator music. It just becomes background music for offices and et cetera. So I'm curious, and I have some other stats that I kind of looked up because I got curious.
Okay.
But do you think, I'd be interested in your opinion, if so we had really independent radio stations all over the country.
Yes.
And then kind of in our lifetime, that has kind of faded to where they become these conglomerates.
Yes.
With this concept of we're going to do national programming.
Right.
For all these markets.
For local markets. National decision, local decisions being made at the national level.
So is that going to push these radio stations back to local stations? Are we going to see a rise again of the independent radio stations?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to find out. Unfortunately, it sounds like the smaller radio stations are also struggling.
They are.
And so that gives me pause to your theory. But the thing to keep in mind about all this is it's based on ad revenue. Like, all of this is ad-based, right? And so somebody needs to get out there and sell some more ads, is what I'm hearing. Or maybe they're trying to charge too much. I think there's an economics imbalance, that's happening. And so if that economic balance can be returned, then I think it's business as usual. But there needs to be some financial corrections, I think, to make it worthwhile going forward.
So there has not been a dramatic decrease in the number of actual broadcast stations that are broadcasting on a regular basis.
Okay.
But in 2023, there was a 36% drop in AM/FM radio shares of total audio listening.
Okay.
That's huge.
That's massive. And of course, that drives ad revenue. Like,
correct.
You get money by listener.
So the streaming platform, Spotify, Apple, Pandora,
right,
are leading audio growth. Streaming accounts for 84% of the total U.S. music industry revenue in 2022.
Yeah, streaming.
With 77% of the streaming revenue coming from paid subscriptions.
Such as Sirius and
no.
You didn't even mention that.
Yeah,
you just said Apple, Spotify.
Yeah.
And right.
That's amazing. So the revenue is coming not from ad revenue, but from subscription revenue.
Which that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's a crazy kind of change in the
financial landscape for sure. And it's been so they have to the music industry, I think, generally, since streaming has happened, and I don't have the year, but I'm going to say the 90s-ish. I don't think they've figured it out yet completely. And they're still navigating it. I'm surprised YouTube doesn't come up on there because I know a lot of people get their music from YouTube these days. I do like YouTube. If I'm sitting at my computer and going to listen to some music, I like going actually through YouTube to, multiple screens, being able to look at, see a little bit of the clip of the band or the video or whatever. Yeah. So so there's a lot of popularity for that.
Yeah.
I can just say I like, I still like our local radio stations that I like to listen to. But I do consume music in many other ways. I don't only listen to the radio station. I listen to subscription-based Sirius XM, and I listen to subscription-based Apple Music.
Yeah.
And I kind of go through all of those.
Yeah, so I also I mainly listen to Apple. So I'm going through theirs. Both their music and the podcast is my chosen choice. I spend a lot of time traveling, driving, etc., and so I go through Apple quite a bit.
Right.
The other interesting note here is that the FCC notes that the number of weekly listeners to online audio has grown steadily over the past decade, the 13% annually, year over year.
Right.
Much of this is attributed to podcasts.
So not even listening to music, but listening to talk.
With 67% of the population aged 12 plus having listened to a podcast in 2024.
So I remember a time, and this could be 15 years ago, when talk radio was much more prominent.
Sure.
And even like in Chicago, The Loop had, really big radio personalities.
WGN.
Yeah. And that went by the wayside because of the way they counted ratings. So they started to count, I think Nielsen would be the ratings company, and they were counting, they started to count listens in, say, supermarkets.
Sure.
And wherever, doctor's offices and things like that. Well, what do you have playing in supermarkets but music and music, probably, to your point. And so talk radio actually took a big hit when they changed that Nielsen rating system. So it's interesting to me that it's found a way to come back.
Yeah, so you're not talking about like active listening, so all that background music is passive listening.
Yeah.
Just creating more of an atmosphere than it is actually somebody
conveying
listening.
information or something, right.
So monthly podcast listenership rose 47% rose to 47% of the U.S. population in 2024. So 47% of the U.S. population listen to podcasts at least monthly, driven by an ad revenue that reached $1.9 billion in 2023.
Yeah.
We need a piece of that.
So, it seems we're in the right business.
Right. I'm not looking for the whole thing.
We don't need the whole thing. 1% of it probably would be just fine.
Yeah.
I think we could split 1% of that.
That would be lovely.
Yeah,
so,
I think I'd be okay with that.
So that's, I don't know, there's a lot of disturbing, having grown up on terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
Where you'd sit there with your kind of tape deck waiting for a song to play so you could hit record.
Yeah.
So you didn't
and
have
hoping
to
the
go buy
DJ doesn't talk over the song or start talking
yeah.
at the end of the song.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Anybody our age has been there, I'm pretty sure, that loves music.
So that's, I don't know, it's tragic, but it'll be an interesting thing that I'm going to kind of pay attention to here and report on periodically because I think it's fascinating. We talked a lot about classic rock being a radio format.
Yes.
And this is obviously affecting all of that. So, fascinating stuff. All right, you got anything else, or are we ready?
No, I think we can move ahead. I have a feeling we'll be talking a lot about our album today.
It is a good one.
Yep.
So, let's drop the needle on side one.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rock. In the red corner, an album that needs no introduction. Criminally ranked number 24 by Rolling Stone. This album reached number 1 in both the US and UK in 1967, and incredibly hit number 1 again in 2017. It's an 18-time platinum album in the UK and an 11-time platinum album in the US, selling over 32 million copies worldwide. Performed by the Fab Four. This is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And in the blue corner, two fat guys. This is Two Fat Guys and an album.
What a kind of a mountain to climb here talking about the Beatles.
It is. How much time do we have?
Yeah. So you have to talk about the Beatles and an epic album in like under a half hour.
All right.
So I kind of want to put some brackets here.
Sure.
So the first bracket is that the Beatles, when it comes to kind of classic rock, our era of music, everything we love, the influences of music, the foundational set point of all of this, it is the Beatles.
It is the Beatles.
So to do any sort of criticism or comparison or whatever, the only thing you can really do is compare them to themselves.
Kind of.
So you just have this box of albums, and they're sort of kind of all pointing at each other.
Right.
So I have some points I'd like to make about this album, but
All right.
it's hard to like not sound like I'm picking on this because it's the Beatles and it's Sgt. Pepper's and it's
Right.
an
So
epic
you're
masterpiece.
just commenting. I've said it before. We're talking about greatness here.
right.
So we're just talking about levels of greatness.
Right.
And if you were running the studio session, how much better it would have been.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm not talking about it isn't beautiful, but that one strand of hair could be just a tick
exactly.
over. That's all I'm really doing.
Yeah.
here.
That's fair.
So normally when we do these, we do a little bit of if you give us some kind of stats
Little background on the band.
and then some background on the band. So
Yeah.
you know,
So again, books and books and books have been written about this. So this is going to be super concise.
Mm-hmm.
It is, of course, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, comprising the Beatles. John Lennon passed away in 1980, and George Harrison in 2001, and we still have Paul and Ringo with us. Their main influence, I'm pleased to inform you, are skiffle. Especially Lonnie Donegan, and in fact, I think it's correct to say that the Beatles were an actual skiffle band when they were like Johnny and the Moondogs or somebody like that. So they were very, very influenced by skiffle, British skiffle in particular, which was influenced by American skiffle. The Everly Brothers are one of their main influences. Little Richard, all the great American rock and roll acts, Buddy Holly. And the Elvis, it goes on and on.
So did that change over the years? I mean, because
This is just their origins.
the origins, because you see more like blues influence more, and then you do some like Eastern influences, and
Right.
you even hear that on this album.
Right.
bit.
So I mean, again, one of the great things about the Beatles is how they were constantly evolving.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the Beatles as they emerged,
sure.
okay, their initial influences were the bands that I spoke of, and then if you want to get into Sgt. Pepper briefly, you're talking about you can go back to Revolution, which influenced the Beach Boys, which then influenced Sgt. Pepper, and then you have Bob Dylan in there as well in the mix. So they were always aware of their contemporaries. They were friends with the Rolling Stones. So I mean, there's a lot of contemporary influences.
I didn't do any research on this, but I thought I heard like years ago that Pet Sounds kind of was that this album had a lot to do with like
Well, Pet Sounds came before this album.
correct, and so they were influenced by
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that they were influenced by Pet Sounds, and I think they would acknowledge that.
influenced by Pet Sound, but influence on Pet Sounds for this album.
For Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
For
All right.
sure. Yeah.
Okay,
So
go
like
on,
I
sorry.
said, there was definitely a back and forth between the Beach Boys, an American band, by the way,
Sure.
and the Beatles across the pond, and it was sort of their influences were circular. One influenced the other, influenced the other, influenced the other.
And how many times have I mean, we're on episode 20, but we're only on episode 20. And how many times have we already talked about how, the influences, what's happening on the ground affects other bands?
Yes,
and other,
absolutely.
That's kind of cool.
It is very cool. I always like if you want to know more about a band, look at their influences. Their first hit was Love Me Do in 1962. It's the only song recorded without Ringo. And when we saw Ringo Starr live, he makes a point of performing it at his live shows because he, I guess, just wants to say, I can play Love Me Do. But I think he almost always performs that live. And interestingly enough, because Ringo replaced Pete Best. Like, Pete Best is one of the guys that...
Right.
Right? But Pete Best was not the drummer either on Love Me Do. It was a fellow named Andy White. So Andy White was the drummer on Love Me Do. And but then from then on, it was Ringo. They led the British invasion in 1984. That's when 1964, sorry. And after their number one hit in America, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Interesting thing about 1964 is they had 3 albums simultaneously charting. Because, well, I know it's weird. At the time, and through the entire Beatles discography, they have American albums, which they recorded with Capitol, and they had British albums, which they recorded with Parlophone, which is a subsidiary of EMI. But I know it's you're the business guy. So and all these their tracks are actually different. Like the American albums are different from the British albums. They're similar, but not the same. But there was a third record company called VJ Records. Perhaps Martha Quinn was in charge of it. Yeah. And they had the rights to the Beatles' first album. Simultaneous to the other album. So the first album was Meet the Beatles.
Yeah.
But then there was Introducing the Beatles, which I believe was the VJ version of it. And I can't remember what the British version was, but there were 3 different versions of this, essentially the same album, and they were both charted at number 1, except like one in the US, one in the UK, and then the other one charted 2 because the other one was 1. So Introducing the Beatles on VJ Records was number 2. Meet the Beatles in the US was number 1, and Please Please Me was the title of the British album. All essentially the same, but not exactly the same.
So being I mean, since I've met you, kind of whenever we talk music, the one thing that's really obvious is that you're a Beatles guy.
I'm a Beatles guy.
Yeah.
They are my favorite band.
Yep. So I assume you have all 3 copies of that?
I do. I'm certain I do because not on vinyl, but they released like a box of all the recordings on CD. So I think I have them on CD actually.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
right.
I do have a box of CDs of all the British and UK albums.
This point,
and there's mono and stereo mixes of them all. And then of course in I think 68 maybe with the White Album, then they had their own label called Apple Records.
This is where I'd really like to make fun of you for all this, but I can't because it's the Beatles.
So here's the thing. As much as I'm saying, there are people out there that know way more about the Beatles than I do. So those Beatle nerds out there, like I'm terrified to sit up here and talk about the Beatles because there are Beatle nerds out there who are going to, like, why did it take them so long to figure out it was Please Please Me? Everybody knows it was Please Please Me. Things like that. And I have come to the realization that a nerd is just somebody who knows more than you do about a subject. And
the definition there.
That's the definition of a nerd, right?
So do they still have like Beatle Mania or whatever?
Beatle Fest, yeah, but but it's called the Fest for Beatle fans. Well, the legalities.
Yeah.
But yeah, every August it rolls into town, and it's still here. I've only attended a couple of them in my life and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But the Fest for Beatle fans still exists.
So basically, we're not going to add anything new to the conversation here, other than our opinions.
I guess. I mean, I'm not. Yeah. I mean, everything's been done.
Yeah.
The Beatles have. They're considered one of the most successful acts of all time, with over 600 million units sold. They have the most U.S. #1 singles with 20. The most UK #1 albums with 15. All members are double Hall of Fame inductees, both individually and as members of the band. Rolling Stone.
Is Ringo in the Country Music Hall of Fame?
Not yet.
No.
Probably will be, though. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You can start that ballot if you like.
Yeah.
Hey, if I have a Hall of Fame, I'm inviting Ringo to it. Yeah,
There's
it'd
a
be the Shuffleboard Hall of Fame. I'm putting Ringo Starr in.
Saw him in person. He would not fit into the Fat Guy Hall of Fame.
No, he's very svelte for. He's very.
Always has been.
Yep. Rolling Stone has Paul McCartney as the number 9 bass player of all time, and the number 12 vocalist of all time. John Lennon, Rolling Stone's number 5 vocalist and number 3 artist, whatever that means. But yeah, that's how they term it. So they do have Lennon ranked higher than McCartney vocally, interestingly enough. George Harrison, number 31 ranking guitar player. Ringo Starr, number 14 on drums. The McCartney, Lennon, and Harrison all have a solo album that has cracked the top Rolling Stones albums.
The top.
Well, they're top 500. Rolling Stones, the top 500 albums.
Yeah.
Each of them have an album
independently
as a solo act
artist. Yeah.
in the Rolling Stones
That's
top
amazing.
500. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's pretty good being a Beatle.
It is being a Beatles, good thing.
So what I know about the Beatles, I'm not even pretend to know as much as you or the main Beatles fans.
Yeah.
But if you kind of run through them, Ringo's on drums, Harrison's the guitar player.
Yeah. Paul's the bass
player.
John's the
rhythm
guitar typically, but they
But how
they all are,
how good were they, like, outside of their main instrument? So I know Paul played piano and
right. Paul played piano. John played piano. Paul plays piano. Paul's original McCartney album, his first solo album, I think he played every instrument on the album.
Could you do that?
Yes.
I mean, that would
not as well. No, the answer is yes. First of all, the secret is to write songs that you can play.
That's true.
Yeah, so if you're not trying to do anything nutty, it could pretty much be done. Solo guitar would probably be a weak spot. I probably wouldn't. But, you can learn. I'm just going to say yes, I kind of could.
Sure. I was just trying to wrap my head around how much.
But he did it professionally and sold a bazillion records. Yeah.
You do it in the...
But I do it...
You do it in your spare room haven't sold anything.
Right. But could I do it? Yes.
So I only ask because on this particular album, talking about Sgt. Pepper,
right.
if you look at what they get credited to, instrument-wise, it's fascinating. So,
okay. And I actually haven't looked at that list. So
yeah, no. Well, so John Lennon gets lead harmony and background vocals.
Right. Well, can I stop you there? Because famously, they've composed songs together. They credit their songs as Lennon McCartney songs. In reality, most of the songs are written primarily by one person. Yeah. Oftentimes, there's input from the other. The person who wrote the song typically sings it. So they alternate being lead vocalists and background vocalists, and all of the Beatles have sung background harmony. All the Beatles have sung lead vocal, which makes it really interesting because that's one of the things I like about the band is the variety you get within the band, and that everybody contributes in different ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that it looks like they all get credited on at least one song with lead vocals.
Yes.
Ringo with a little help from my friends, he's doing lead, and George Harrison with you, without you.
Yep.
Which I think is the ones they wrote, right? I'm pretty sure. So.
No. Well, George Harrison wrote With and Without You. I'm almost positive a little help from my friends was written for Ringo to sing. Oh. And I'm not sure if it was primarily a Lennon or McCartney piece. Most likely, it sounds to me like a McCartney piece. But that was written for Ringo to sing.
So John also gets credited with Hammond organ, final piano E chord.
So that's the chord at the end of A Day in a Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had 3 people playing that, so there should be 3 people credited with that. George Martin's probably one of them.
Yeah, finally.
So there were, that final chord, and I don't know if it was
the other guy is Mal Evans.
Oh, okay, he's the like the engineer, or yeah.
Well,
and so they were trying to sync up that chord to get it to be exactly right. I mean, I could teach you to play an E chord in 5 seconds.
So Mal Evans is he actually is now we're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah.
But he was it's him and McCartney kind of came up with this concept on a plane.
Okay.
And he's the publicist or the something. He's like
he's their guy. He's like the Beatles guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was with them a long time.
He may have played like the hammer on Maxwell's Civil Hammer as well.
He gets credit for counting.
Okay. Oh, during Day in a Life?
Harmonica.
Yeah.
Alarm clock.
Yep.
And final piano E chord.
Nice. He's a multi-instrumentalist as well.
Yeah. Who is like me sitting in the back room going, come here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We need someone to do that.
Yeah.
Well, did you notice it? Well, never mind. Go on.
But I love some of the other things that John Lennon gets credited for.
Mm-hmm.
Like harmonica, tape loops, sound effects, comb and tissue paper.
Yeah, those are kazoos. Comb and tissue paper kazoos. I forget the song. I'm going to say Benefit of Mr. Kite. I don't know if I have it quite in front of me.
Sorry.
But no, Lovely Rita had the comb and paper kazoo.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hand clasp, tambourine, maracas.
Yeah.
And the bass on Fixing a Hole.
Okay.
Lennon gets credited with all the vocal stuff, bass and lead guitars, piano, grand piano, Lowry and Hammond organs, hand clasp, vocalizations.
Yeah, so remember, okay, what do you want to start with? Well, remember the Lowry organ. We came across the Lowry organ with Camper Van Beethoven not too long ago. So this is an interesting thing. If you can imagine the beginning of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, it sounds like it's sort of a psychedelic keyboard sounding thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound anything like a Lowry organ.
Right, yeah.
It's a Lowry organ with layers of effects on it to make it sound different.
Which is pretty weird considering, or pretty cool considering this is 1967.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why this album is so epic. It's just all the level of creativity and innovation, both musically and artistically, as well as studio production, is off the charts.
How much of that was done kind of post-production?
Well, everything was post-production.
So they get in a room, the 4 of them, they play the song.
Yeah, I mean, when you say how much is that post-production, so to talk, I guess we're talking about the album now. I guess we're moving into the album now.
Do you want to?
First of all, well, I think we're all like we're deep in it, so we might as well. We can always circle back on some other things, or but the so the Beatles. I guess to circle back and give it a little bit of prelude. Sure. They were a touring band for 64, 65, and they finished their last live show, I think, in 1966 in San Francisco. And from that moment on, they declared themselves a studio band. They were burned out from the road. They had an insane schedule. They were releasing like 2 albums a year. They were making movies.
Yeah.
So
well, this is their 8th studio.
This is their 8th studio album.
And when was their first one out?
So here, let me just to back up
no, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, 1964 was when they kind of broke out in the United States. Yeah. So Please Me, Introducing the Beatles, and Meet the Beatles. Literally 3 albums.
One production.
In one, yeah. They released 6 albums total in 1964, including A Hard Day's Night, an actual movie. Like they shot a movie and created an album. All of these 6 albums in 1964 were multi-platinum albums. Yeah. Every one of them. In 1965, they did Help, which was a movie and an album, and
Right.
Rubber Soul. So two albums a year. They did Revolver in '66, and as I said, their final live performance, other than the Let It Be rooftop, was in San Francisco in '66. So they were on an insane schedule, like just an unmanageable schedule, and
creativity, because like Revolver and
right during this time,
are
no, it's
amazing.
it's unbelievable.
Are like top 20 albums.
Right, and even to go from say '64 to, like you said, Rubber Soul and Revolver, the metamorphosis of the band, even in that short time, is
they evolved quite a bit,
ridiculous.
yeah.
But part of the reason why they had this immense output at the beginning of their careers is they themselves thought they would just cash in as quickly as possible. Like for everybody that said, oh, it's just the Beatles, they're a fad, whatever, they believed that themselves. And they were just trying to, at that time, cash a check and
make as much money as you can in the
then,
window they have to make money in.
Exactly. So they had even themselves, they had no idea how
worked out pretty well
greatness they were going to achieve.
Yeah.
So leading up then to Sgt. Pepper, they're a studio band now. So since they've declared themselves to be a studio band and they have all the money in the universe, they get to spend all the time in the studio that they want. They get to experiment with new technology. They get to have all the different instruments at their whim. There was no limit to what they were, other than their own creativity and imagination, which was immense.
Right.
And so they had everything they needed to create a masterpiece. Yeah. And so being a studio band, like these songs were never really intended to be performed live. Like a lot of times you're creating a song and these are songs that you record live, and essentially, back in 1966 without studio tricks and all kinds of things. And then you go out and you tour and you perform those songs. These songs were, at the time, could not possibly be performed live.
Well, that's kind of what, if I had a criticism again, and with that, go back to my original first statement, I'm just criticizing a Beatles by criticizing the Beatles.
Yeah, right.
Comparing them one to another.
Right.
So this is just, it's barely a criticism. But this seems like super over gimmicked, produced. It's very different from Revolver or...
Right. And that's,
absolutely, my comment would be you couldn't really perform a lot of these songs
No,
live.
There's no question. Like
that's my actual criticism.
Right, which isn't a criticism. But
No.
But right, they had, their intention was to use all this innovation and studio ability that they had to create music. I don't think it's overproduced at all, but if you compare it to their previous albums, it's obviously and to any album ever made before it.
Sure.
It's obviously light years ahead. It's a light years leap in technology and production. Not to mention the songwriting and the psychedelia and everything else involved in creating this album.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you don't like it because of that, that's fine. Or if that's your criticism, but that's really one of the reasons why it's, not to jump ahead, but this could be considered a landmark album for those reasons alone, is all the technology and all the production. And to me, it sounds natural. I've never once thought it sounded overproduced, to be honest. Like, I just think it was creative and amazing.
So I was trying to listen. It's an album. A lot of these songs, we grew up with. These songs were in existence by the time we got into music, and they were popular still. The Beatles were popular still.
Right.
Long after they broke up.
Right. I found out about them in 7th or 8th grade. And,
right. Octopus's Garden was on Sesame Street.
Yeah, of course.
So, we knew about all of this. So I was trying to say, look at this with fresh eyes. What would I think about it.
Right.
And that was just kind of what popped into my head.
Okay, like if you're searching.
How do you not just completely fawn over everything?
Right.
So
it
you know.
Since you just think about Fresh Eyes and all that, it does make me think of the remaster that was reissued in 2017, which now is already 8 years ago almost. That reissue.
Yep.
So that remaster is fantastic. Again, just using better mastering techniques and mixing techniques that they have available today. So the first time I heard that album, it was like listening to it brand new, quite honestly. It was really interesting the way the mixes just sounded different to me, and it still sounded great.
So since it's on here kind of twice, that Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts...
sorry. That album also was number one. So it charted at number one again 50 years later.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So since it's on here twice,
yes,
they do violate your 12-song rule.
So they do, and that's part of the interesting things about the UK-US album thing. And by now the Beatles could do whatever they want. They could add 42 songs on an album if they wanted.
See White Album.
Right. But the U.S. had a 12-song limit for their albums. Like, it was standard. It was standard for a U.S. album at that time to have 12 songs.
They have 13.
They're lucky. Yeah, well, they're the Beatles. That's one more.
Yeah. So, but Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is the first song and also the 12th song.
Can I say this could add 15 songs? Because Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane should have been on this album.
Yeah.
They recorded those as singles. That's the other interesting thing about it.
Yeah, I saw that.
There are no singles officially on this album because they just released it as an album, and then they released singles separately at the time.
Right, because they thought if you released a single from an album, it would decrease the album sales.
Right.
So they left songs off
intentionally
to release them as singles.
Right.
So that people would buy both the singles and the album.
And then, in a bit of marketing brilliance, they took all the singles and put them on an album.
Right.
So
correct.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was trying to go through the songs before we got too
Pepper.
Deep.
Yes.
All
right.
Just before we run out of time in this segment.
Okay.
So, the first and 12th is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Right.
Which is sort of the sets the foundation for the album. It's sort of the introduction of these alter egos, if you would.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And really sort of eliminates the idea of the old Beatles. Because as I said, they were turning into a studio band.
Sure.
They were exhausted from the old Beatles. And they completely kind of reinvented themselves. One of the reviews that I read said this doesn't just create a new Beatles, it smothers the old Beatles with a pillow. It was really a firm ending to that era for them, in the beginning of a new era.
So do you want to talk about the song?
Sgt. Pepper?
Yeah.
I think we just did.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it mixes classical and rock. It breaks the fourth wall. They're actually talking to the audience in it. There's live audience sound, so it sort of creates the feeling, again, of a live performance of a new band.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
You put that on a T-shirt. Yeah, it's cool. That's good commentary.
Under obvious shirts, that'll be a new obvious shirt.
Yeah. Then we have With a Little Help from My Friends.
Yep. And that was Ringo Starr as Billy Shears, the alter ego.
Which also could be one of the greatest cover songs of all time.
Right. I think you were supposed to ask me about that later.
I am, but I just enjoy...
It's definitely going to be in the discussion.
Lucy in the Skies with Diamonds.
Fun fact for A Little Help, My Friends, there's crowd screams in it.
Yeah.
That's actually recorded from their Hollywood Bowl concert. So those were actual Beatle fans screaming
nice.
during that. Yep. Lucy in the Sky. So as I said, the sound at the beginning, the interesting psychedelic keyboard sound is an organ. One of the things that they tried to do and in their production and all that is they wanted everything to sound different. They wanted every song to be unique. They wanted every instrument to sound unique. And they were actively trying to make instruments sound different from what they really sounded like through as you said, production techniques and things like that.
Yeah. We can keep going here with Get Better and Fixing a Hole and She's Leaving Home. And but so George Harrison has some interesting kind of instruments he's credited with. Do you know where they pop up, like
Within Without You, most likely. I mean, there's this is George Harrison in particular, became interested in Hindu and Indian.
Led all of them kind of that
led all that down
eventually.
that road. And so he, I think, buddied up with Ravi Shankar at some point and learned to play the sitar and became a real fan of Indian and Hindu music. And it showed up previously on the Revolver album, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Without You on this album is his second song in that style. So that song was recorded with professional Indian classical musicians. No other Beatle appeared on that track.
Yeah. Well, McCartney said he envisioned the Beatles' alter egos for this album to be a bit of B.B. King, a bit of Stockhausen.
Okay, Stockhausen's a classical composer, fall into the contemporary classical composer realm. So he, now I got to go back, but he created music that was just, first of all, very weird and odd.
Avant-garde.
Very avant-garde. And I want to say he was involved with the musique concrète movement of recording sounds and using recorded sounds as music.
Yeah.
Much like Revolution Number 9, if you're thinking of something like that. All the Stockhausen nerds, please. But Stockhausen, an avant-garde composer, would be the simplest way to put it.
And then a bit of Albert Ayler.
Don't know.
I believe he's a saxophonist.
Okay.
A bit of Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
A bit of Pet Sounds and a bit of the Doors.
Mm-hmm.
He saw the group as pushing frontiers, similar to other composers of the time.
Yes.
Even though the Beatles do not necessarily like. I don't even know what that sentence is.
But I think he's mentioning it in terms of this is really a composed album,
Yeah, well, which is why I was attracted to that, and I'm not sure where he wanders off later. But I mean, I find it interesting that he used the term composer.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Which rock bands write songs.
Right.
Composers compose.
Yeah.
And I think that's a telling word. I think I caught on to the same thing you were thinking of there.
And then listening. Kind of looking at all the different instruments they've used across this, it really is
right. And there's a lot of orchestral instruments. She's Leaving Home with the strings and.
You just showed me a phenomenal picture of Paul conducting an orchestra.
Yes, full orchestra. Most likely that's the end of Day in a Life. I'm guessing is where that picture came from.
Phenomenal. Okay. Anything on the first side being the benefit of Mr. Kite?
You lost me on that one.
We were going back to trying to. Oh,
just going backwards. I mean, I like She's Leaving Home. I like all the songs. They're just incredible. I know, people. The album exists as a whole, really. You know, so it's there's songs that maybe I like more or less, but as a whole album.
We just read in this book, for the people listening on audio, I have a book in front of me. A gigantic book.
Be careful, it may fall out of one of the ends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
recording the Beatles, it's a massive, very large book.
It's a tome.
Yeah. The studio equipment and techniques used to create their classic album. So it's kind of all the stuff that went into the engineering and making of the albums from a technical perspective.
Yes.
But there was a story in there that just kind of flipping through it about being the benefit of Mr. Kite.
Yep.
Was a poster.
Yep, circus poster from Pablo Frank's circus that John purchased in an antique shop one day while filming the promotional film for Strawberry Fields Forever. And so he purchased this poster from 1843, and it evokes a circus atmosphere, and even like some of the lyrics were taken directly off the poster. So that's where the inspiration for that came from.
So a circus in 1843?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. The other side of it is With You, Without You, which is lead vocals by George Harrison.
Yes.
I like it. When I'm 64.
Written by Paul when he was only 16 years old.
Really?
Yep. Written in 1958. And he envisioned it to be kind of a show tune. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it has that feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was, he likes show tunes and things like that. So he wrote that song when he was 16 years old. It had actually pretty forward thinking to be 16-year-old writing about being 64 and what it might be like. And it's a charming song.
He probably played it when he was 64.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
Do you know anything about the story behind Lovely Rita?
If you do, I'll let you go with it.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't have the story in front of me on it. But it's
we could look it up.
This
in
is where
book.
we could. But this does have the comb and paper kazoos that you spoke of earlier. It has a piano solo by George Martin, which I think you were thinking about. When you were asking before about what the Beatles all played, George Martin played a lot of the instruments. The producer of the Beatles, and really the fifth Beatle. He was with them since they were started in 1962. But when you say, well, how good of a piano player was Paul or John, I think if you needed any real piano playing done, you went to George Martin for it. And then he's the one that also wrote the string arrangements and horn arrangements. And, none of the Beatles were really musically literate in terms of being able to write music and read music. So they would come up with these ideas, and then he would have to communicate these ideas to the professional musicians that they had hired to do the recording with. And so he was often tasked with, Paul singing him lines of music and him having to chart it out really quickly, which is quite a skill in itself.
Yeah, I knew of George Martin, and I knew he was a producer. I didn't know how active until we started doing this podcast. I didn't realize how actively involved he was in the creating.
Yeah, he was very active with it, and I mean,
we're just saying yes and no. He was doing stuff.
Well, and I think that's why he was great for the Beatles, because he was able to keep up with their creativity. He was able to push them further. He was able to come up with his own creative ideas. And as I said, he was like a translator between their ideas and the pros that they had recording. So he was pivotal in the Beatles.
Yeah.
Not just this album, but all the way back to 1962.
Yeah. And then Good Morning, Good Morning.
Yep.
The Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
You didn't ask me about what inspired Good Morning, Good Morning.
Well, after you had a non-answer to the previous question, I was sort of skipping those.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Breakfast commercial, TV commercial.
Fix yourself a bowl of Kellogg's Corn Flakes. A little milk, a little sugar. Eat them in the dark.
So he took that, and it's, sort of his grievance against complacency.
Was that John Lennon?
John Lennon, yeah. All the crabby songs are John Lennon. All the happy songs are McCartney. Yeah.
Probably a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, and it's generally true. The interesting thing about this song, I mean, it has multiple time signature changes without getting into the meaning of that and taking up time to talk about it. But just, going from like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, like just the music changing. And it happens so smoothly and seamlessly. Like, there's like jolts in the music, but you never think of it as like a technical song.
Is that more difficult to play? Is that what you're getting to?
It's difficult to conceive. I mean, when you think of prog rock and you think of bands like Rush or King Crimson or whatever, their music has multiple time signatures in it and everything, and it usually makes it sound very complicated and complex. It's a level of complexity. The amazing thing about this is it doesn't sound like you almost wouldn't notice it, but it's there.
Well, that doesn't, not noticing it or doesn't mean it isn't difficult to actually play.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely more difficult than it is to just stay in the same time signature all the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band again.
Recorded live. That was so when you talk about all the production on this one was intentionally recorded without all that in order to give that live rock band feel. And so this is the one that is more it obviously has some stuff layered onto it, but this one was recorded live.
That's cool. And then
my favorite Beatles song of all time. Yeah, Day in the Life.
Mine too.
Yep. And again, this is shows the McCartney and Lennon songwriting dichotomy. It's a Lennon song with McCartney sandwiched in the middle, the dream sequence. Yeah. And it's almost like Lennon had half of a song, McCartney had half of a song. They put it together and they made that's what they do. That's just what they do. The final note is the orchestra was told to play from their lowest note that they could to their highest note. And so, when you talk about something like Stockhausen, like some avant-garde technique, so this music wasn't notated. It was meant to sound random, but musical at the same time. And that's how they achieved that effect. And then, of course, the triple E chord at the end that ends with a note that only dogs can hear, I believe. I believe they somehow tagged that on at the end for some reason.
So, and they're almost all involved, or lots of people are involved with that final E chord.
Yeah.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah, just something of an album. It's
all right. Well, we can't end talking about an album without kind of saying is it a term we have debated here for the last few shows, but landmark is what we are currently using.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Is it a landmark album? Is it a perfect album?
Yeah, you can use whatever term you want. This is truly a landmark album. It's a landmark.
Just freaking awesome.
Yeah, it sets music in an entirely new direction, with all their studio techniques, with the creativity level, the psychedelia. This is a pop album. That's the craziest. Like, every now and then I have to remind myself that this is, like, they just released a pop album.
Yeah.
And it just turned into a miracle.
Yeah.
It raised the bar for artistic expression in pop music. Like, what is pop music capable of? It's got multiple genres throughout. Obviously classical influences, all the influences that you mentioned. You talk about the ideas of prog rock sort of merging classical and rock music. This is probably where that was born. Part of the 60s counterculture, part of the hippie movement, part of the summer of love. Pretty much everything is just, and we're only touching, like, we haven't talked about all the studio things that were invented for this, and it's just crazy. It was a U.S. 11-time platinum album in the U.S. only because it was an 18-time platinum album in the U.K. Number one on both sides of the pond. Rolling Stone has it. Okay, criminally, laughably, Rolling Stone currently has this in their latest review as 24. Now, it was number one on their previous 2 album rankings. And then so every 10 years or so, I guess they do a new one.
Yeah.
And somehow it went from number one to 24, which is silly.
Yeah.
But this is for sure a landmark album. I would call it for sure a perfect album, just in terms of even if you want to cherry pick a track or two, I think the sum is greater than the parts.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I mean, this is a perfect album.
It all kind of flows. So
Yeah.
I see no reason to get up and skip a song.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect landmark album.
So before we end the album, I'd asked you via text. What your favorite kind of covers are.
Okay.
I have 2 that one just because it's historically kind of amazing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think if you've already talked about it,
Right.
we're gonna agree on that.
Joe Cocker's.
Yes.
With a little help from my friends, that he, especially kind of the Woodstock thing.
Yes.
One of the great.
Well, for sure, the Woodstock version.
One
of
of the great all-time YouTube videos is when they. It's one of those what he's really saying.
Yes, you have to. Yeah, if you haven't seen this, you need to watch it, and you have to search for misheard lyrics. Joe Cocker with a little help, my friends, and somebody has translated everything
Cocker,
that he has said, and it's perfect.
And if you've never seen Joe Cocker sing, and you watch the whole video of him at Woodstock, you might think he's like crazy and incredibly high on something or other,
which
and
I think he was.
He might have been.
Yeah.
But that is also just how Joe Cocker sings, with those
the twitchiness and
body
everything.
movements.
Yes.
And if one of the more brilliant things is him singing with John Belushi
on Saturday Night Live.
on Saturday Night Live, copying.
Yes.
Him, or yeah.
So yeah, all those things are great. Since you gave me the text heads up on this, though, I actually have a top 5 for you if we can squeeze it in.
So I have one that kind of always has kind of stuck with me. But go on.
Okay, so first of all, full albums covers. Cheap Trick does a full version of Sgt. Pepper. They have a full album cover, and so do the Flaming Lips. And the Cheap Trick version is pretty straightforward. The Flaming Lips is a little more adventurous. Both are interesting, I think, to just hear these songs with a different viewpoint. Okay, number 5, cover, Sgt. Pepper by Jimi Hendrix. Bought the album. 3 days later, performed Sgt. Pepper live in front of Paul McCartney and Eric Clapton, by the way, who happened to be attendants at that show. So number 5, Sgt. Pepper by Jimi Hendrix. Number 4, Day in a Life by Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
And that's off of an album called In My Life, which is a tribute album for George Martin. It also has some other great Beatle covers. It's got Robin Williams and Bobby McFerrin doing Coming Together. It's got Jim Carrey doing I Am the Walrus, and Phil Collins playing drums and singing on the Abbey Road ending, the Golden Slumbers Carry the Weight, and the end. So there's some really good, interesting cover tunes. But Jeff Beck doing A Day in the Life, really great. Number 3, can't forget Elton John doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which was actually the first time I had heard that song. I didn't, I thought Elton John was the person that sang that song. I think he does a great cover it. Sonic Youth does a killer version of Within Without You. And I would check that out. It's got, a lot of edge to it. But captures the original as well. It's just it's got some tape loops. So Sonic Youth, With and Without You, and of course we've already talked about Joe Cocker's the number 1 cover, Woodstock, Little Help My Friends. You said you had one more?
No, well, I didn't know yours, but mine. If you'd asked me walking down the street, what's my favorite cover of a, Joe Cocker would probably come out. But the other one that I think is amazing is Jeff Beck, A Day in the Life.
Yeah.
And he did this often in concert.
Yes, he performed it.
In
And
fact,
it's epic.
Yes. And his very last... So Jeff Beck died in January of 2023.
Okay.
His last concert was October of 2022. And so this was the last song he ever played. It was always his final encore
Oh, I didn't
song.
realize that. That's
So this
amazing.
Was so his cover of A Day in the Life was the last song he played on stage.
Wow.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
Super cool.
The great Jeff Beck, yeah. All right. Any other final comments? Or
Well, you can go another hour? Or?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I'm okay with wrapping it up. Here.
We do have a live read, though.
We do. You tricked me.
I did not.
You did. You asked me about my top 5 covers, which is on a different piece of paper.
All right.
Two Fat Guys in an Album is sponsored by Deeper Connections Counseling, helping people connect to themselves, the people they love, and the world around them through individual and couples therapy for Illinois residents, both in person and online. More information at dcctherapy.com.
Yeah. And, we talk a lot about mental health on here, and we talk a lot about the strugglings of musicians. And, tragically, we've lost many, many great musicians for mental health reasons. You're having an issue, you're worth it, talk to somebody. Your relationships are for sure worth it. Don't let your struggles or some problem you're dealing with today affect your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your friends, your family. Go talk to somebody. No shame in it, no stigma in it. Just do it, and we're both huge supporters of that, and we're huge supporters of you. Go talk to somebody.
Very good.
With that, we will flip this over to side 2.
This episode of Two Fat Guys in an Album is brought to you by Smidge Films. If you're looking to bring your ideas to life with some cool cinematic work, Smidge Films has you covered. From brand stories to promos, we'll help you tell your story in a way that really sticks. Check us out and see what we can do for you.
Welcome to side 2. This is where we kind of talk about things we're listening to, things happening in music, maybe some shows we've seen. I got a few things I'm excited about, but I think we need to start this with kind of an announcement that sort of shocked the music world a couple days ago, at least at the time of the recording, is that Billy Joel canceled all the remaining shows he had for 2025 after being recently diagnosed with NPH, which is a brain problem. Basically, he's collecting too much fluid on the brain.
Okay.
Sounds like it's treatable, but it's affecting his hearing and vision and balance.
Yeah.
I know it was a clip of him, maybe a month or so ago, that he fell over on stage.
Okay. They're attributing it to that, perhaps?
He had a hard time getting up.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it's being looked at and taken care of.
Yeah, so say a prayer, give a hug, do whatever you do. Keep Billy Joel in your thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you have any new music you'd like to bring?
I do. I have 2 new favorites. I've added 2 new songs to the favorite list recently. The first is called Minor Inconveniences by BeBe Stockwell. Yeah, she's a folk singer-songwriter. She's got a really interesting voice. It's kind of gravelly. She doesn't sound at all like she looks. It's really interesting because she sounds a little kind of like an older country bluesy type of singer, and
what's the name of the song?
Minor Inconveniences. It's the first song off of her new album Driving Backwards, and the whole album is quite good. I've given the whole album a listen, but I really like this song. It's a basically the song just talks about all the kind of the bad things that can happen in life. And how she just frames it as minor inconveniences and just part of life.
Oh, sure.
It's really, there's a little bit of wisdom to the song. Yes, and there's, and on YouTube, actually on iTunes, they have videos for a couple of her songs that are really interesting. But they call them visualizers, and I don't know if that's a new term or if that's just her thing.
Yeah.
But they're all shot in like 8mm style, so they all have a real nostalgic look to them. So BeBe Stockwell, Minor Inconveniences is the song, but I would even dig a little deeper into it. If you like that song, go ahead and listen to a few more. Check out the videos.
What were you classifying her music as?
She's definitely a folk singer-songwriter type. Got a little bit of a country sound to it, but nothing, singer, guitar. It's got a singer-songwriter. It's got a little more production to it than that, but it's
nice.
It's songs. Had a lovely chat with a fellow who's also a singer-songwriter from Colorado last week, and his name's John Erlandson, and he's a super nice guy, also a singer-songwriter and listener to the show, as it turns out. John, if you're listening to this one, you're going to like BeBe Stockwell. You're asking me who you should listen to?
Mm-hmm.
BeBe Stockwell. But he's got an album from 2006 called Will You Dance? Also very nice songs, and he's working on a new album, so keep your eye out for his whenever. It's not ready to launch yet. It's in the studio, but
his name one more time.
John Erlandson, Erlandson. It's a very long, complicated name. He might have wanted to go with Johnny Rocket or something.
Right, yeah. Easier for me to spell.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so nice guy. Enjoyed talking with him. Got to chat about the show a little bit, and got to chat about his music a little bit.
You're welcome to come on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome. Definitely.
We do have a third chair that never ends up in any shots.
Yeah, we need to get
no
that
one's sitting there.
We got to put that chair to use. Mm-hmm. And I have one more favorite, Matt Berninger, who's the main voice in the National. He's got a solo record coming out called Get Sunk, which is dropping, not today, I just had to check the watch, but it's going to drop in about a week on May 30th.
So it's out now.
If you're hearing this. But I have not listened to the album yet. Mm-hmm. But Bonnet of Pins is the single that's getting some play already. And I love the song. I could listen to the song 10 times over and over. And it's about a ghost. It's about a run-in with a ghost. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's a nice little bit of background information. The backup singer of it is, I think, playing the role of the ghost, actually, is Julia Laws from the band Ronboy. She has a fabulous voice. It pairs so nicely with his, and I think it's a great song. So, also made my favorite list this week.
The National is part of my argument of that rock is dead.
Why?
Because I think if rock was fully alive and kicking, they would be huge.
I think they're pretty big.
Yeah, they would be massively.
They'd be bigger than they are now.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty big. Although I also think they're on hiatus.
Which scares me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I have I could not have been more stoked when I heard Pulp was coming out with a new album, and Pulp is one of the Brit band, the big four of the Brit band world with Oasis, Blur, and Suede.
Yeah.
And they haven't put out an album in at least a decade, and super exciting to see they're putting out some new music. If you don't know Pulp, listen to Common People or Disco 2000.
Yeah, Common People's a riot. I love that song.
It's great. And so they had a new album that's probably be out before this podcast gets produced, but the album's called More. Spike Island is a song from it that's out. It sounds exactly like Pulp, so it's great to see him back. One I think we may have to save for a review down the road or something. But Counting Crows has a new album.
Okay, yeah, big fan of Counting Crows.
I've listened to it, and
the entire album.
Yeah, and I think it's strong.
Yeah. The rock and roll. What's the single from it? I'm a rock and roll star, something like that.
Yeah, I don't have it quite. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's got some more colorful language in it.
Right.
But I think that's the title of the song
Yeah.
that's getting some airplay now. I think that's a great song.
It's great. I do, and I think it's worth it. It sounded a little more lo-fi than their previous albums, but that could just be me. I'll be interested when you listen to the whole
Less
thing.
produced.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other album that I think is coming out that I was super excited about is Arcade Fire put out the album Pink Elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Arcade Fire, for those not familiar, the album Funeral is on my top 100 albums. It's a little art rock. I think it's brilliant. They did a follow-up album called Suburbs that is also just kind of amazing, sort of concept album.
Probably equally as good.
Yeah. It's really strong. Pink Elephant is not that.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
Does it have the song Pink Elephants on it from Dumbo?
No.
Because it's one of my favorite songs. From one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. Didn't age well.
Oh, well. No, it didn't.
But I don't know. I may have to go give this a few more chances. I want it to be better than it is, but
Well,
it was kind of a swing and
go
a
with
miss
go
for
with the
me.
3-listen rule at least.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
So far, it's a swing and a miss.
Okay. I haven't heard it, so can't comment.
And then we are back. A little less than 24 hours from a concert.
Right. You can't tell, can you? It is at the time of this recording, it is Memorial Day weekend, which is the official start of summer in Chicago. And I didn't realize this, and Chicago's the greatest summer city, I think. And many people have said that. Chicago's just a great summer city. And I've always felt that, but I never could put my finger why on it until some people from out of town actually explained it to me. And it's because we only have summer for 3 months.
Right.
We get 12 months of fun, and we just smash it into 3 months. That's how we do it in Chicago. But yeah, we started the outdoor concert season last night.
Yeah, it was a little chilly. Not bad.
It was okay.
Could've been worse.
So the people we saw Dawes.
Yeah.
We saw Dawes, and we saw Lily Kershaw who opened. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but they're both from California, and they were complaining about They weren't complaining. They were just saying, "Gosh, it's cold."
Yeah, they were complaining.
They were, and so it was a little chilly. It was jacket weather. That's all. It was jacket weather.
Yeah.
So I was
right. You were hatless for most of it.
I was.
I had my concert going Cubs hat.
Yes.
On, and I brought my earmuffs to keep my ears warm, so I didn't have to take my hat off. But actually put them on just because we were so close. Yeah, I had the speaker right here.
Yes.
And it was just kind of muffling a little bit.
No, we were
of the
standing
sound.
directly in front of the speaker.
I
think my watch said 103 decibels.
It was loud.
Yeah. But we were in the front row.
Front
we were in the row. And
row.
Did you mention it was at Gallagher Way, which is the first time we've attended a concert there. So Gallagher Way is a little park just outside of Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful. It's probably, if it was shoulder to shoulder, maybe 3,000 people, but it wasn't shoulder to shoulder.
No.
So maybe there were 1,000, 1,500 people there maybe, and it's very enjoyable. I like it as a concert venue quite a bit, and we were able to get up to the rail.
Mm-hmm. Those VIP tickets.
VIP tickets. It's not a bad way to go because there are VIP bathrooms associated with those tickets.
You are very bathroom forward.
It's a consideration.
Where I'm more looking
and
about
a VIP beverage area as well.
They did. Where I'm always looking for more like comfortable seats.
Right.
You are more attracted to where the closest bathroom.
Right. I think we could have brought a blanket or seats or something if we wanted to. I'm not sure. Being the first time there, I wasn't sure exactly how it would happen. But we did have a nice rail to lean on, I wasn't upset about that. Lily Kershaw, the opening act.
Yeah. kind of indie folk, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just her and a guitar or her with her keyboard player.
Yeah. I would recommend if you want to get a taste for Lily Kershaw music. I have 3 songs I would recommend.
Okay.
As It Seems, the Poem Song, and Darker Things. She played Darker Things.
Okay. I enjoyed her concert immensely. Like, as an opening act that we knew nothing of, she was wonderful.
You badgered her into drinking. You personally badgered her into
I
drinking.
just helped spell the beverage. The audience, well, she was cold again, and she was thinking of having a drink to perhaps warm herself up.
And she had a little bit of a cold.
She had a little bit of a cold as well. She was fighting. And the audience, not just me.
He's blaming the audience.
Suggested Malort, which is Chicago.
How Chicago spells gasoline.
Yeah, pretty close to it. And so she was having trouble understanding what the crowd was saying. Us being in the front row, I was able to just articulate what they were saying. I was in no way encouraging her to drink Malort.
You were, and she sent somebody out to get a bottle of Malort.
Yes, which is way much more Malort than anybody needs.
Right. And they came. Her keyboard player came back with a glass, and it had to be like a triple shot.
It was more than you should. Yeah,
more Malort than you should have in a lifetime. And girl, if she didn't she downed that thing.
And then it knocked her on her rear end. I think about one song later or two. Mm-hmm. By the way, we love Malort. If anybody out there from the Malort Brewing Company would like to sponsor Two Fat Guys in an Album, we have an open sponsorship.
We have a little candy on the side. If there's a nice new Malort candy, we'd be happy to have it right here for our enjoyment during the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then the headliner?
The headliner was a band I absolutely adore, which is Dawes.
Right. Second time we've seen them this year.
In a calendar. Well, in 12 months.
Right.
We saw them at the Salt Shed. They packed the Salt Shed.
It was packed.
It was amazing. And then, we saw them here. So Dawes is 2 brothers, really, Tyler and Griffith Goldsmith.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a notorious setlist guy.
You are. And I never got to ask. Did you check the set list for last night's show? Because they were, they wandered from what a typical set list might be.
They did. They did much more deep cuts. They did much more newer album cuts. They did play a couple of the hits, a couple of the classics. Which everybody sang along with.
Oh, yeah, enthusiastically. Yeah, and even though they were doing deep cuts, and I'm usually not a new album guy, I want to hear the big, if you've been around long enough to have a concert full of hits, I want to hear the concert full of hits, quite honestly. And they have been around long enough to have, fill an entire show, couple shows, really. But I didn't mind at all listening to the deep cuts, quite honestly, last night. And one of the things that was interesting is they did a few extended jams, which I didn't really know they were capable of doing. And I thought they sounded fantastic.
I don't know who the keyboard guy is, but he ripped it a couple of times. He was having a good time.
They let him off his leash, and he just ran with it.
Yeah.
I'm encouraging Dawes to continue in that jam band style, because I thought they really did a great job on it.
So, this is really kind of, even though it's a brothers, it's kind of a singer-songwriter sort of.
Yes.
It's about the lyrics. It's about the.
Yeah, I mean, one of the you said their names, but one's the drummer, and he drums and sings backup. But the overall sound of the band is just
Taylor.
one person singing. Yes.
And he's the primary songwriter and lyricist, and some very touching songs, some very make you think, and it was stuff I hadn't heard before or don't remember hearing, but just having the proximity to the band, it was very nice. The
intimacy of the performance was great.
Yeah, it was amazing. So, but Taylor, I mean, he's a legit guy. I mean, he's a legit artist.
For sure he is.
He's married to Mandy Moore.
Good for him.
Yeah. But I did, kind of did a little digging on him, and he's in. He also did an album with a group, that I don't know if you call it a made up group,
Like a super group?
Yeah, kind of. But they're called the Middle Brothers, and it's with the lead singer whose name escapes me from the Deer Ticks.
Oh, okay.
I love that guy's voice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, and I love Taylor's voice. So it's kind of cool to have that together.
Right.
He's also a member of the New Basement Tapes.
Yes.
That recording, which is
the Bob Dylan
kind of a Bob Dylan tribute. I don't know how you.
Well,
say
I think they found a bunch of lyrics and stuff, and then
Basement
they wrote
Tapes.
songs around them.
Yeah, he did. Well, no, I mean,
Am I wrong about that?
yeah, I think Dylan did an album called Basement Tapes, and so this is the New Basement Tape.
Oh, okay.
So all these songs are kind of written and reinterpreted of Bob Dylan songs.
Yes, right.
That's what it kind of comes down to.
Okay.
And so the new bass, and you want to sample one of them, the song Kansas City. It's on my playlist, and I would.
Right, and that's right. That song got a lot of airplay. That's a favorite. That's on my favorite.
So
list
this
as
group,
well.
the New Basement Tapes, is Elvis Costello, Marcus Mumford,
Yes.
Jim James, then Taylor Goldsmith and Rian Griddens.
Don't know. I can
you
try.
know
Rhiannon Giddens. Rhiannon.
Yeah.
There's a.
You would know a couple of her songs.
Okay.
I mean, you know. So that's a super group.
Yeah, that's a
basically doing
super group
this.
for sure. It is.
And then Taylor's also done work for Conor Oberst, which is Bright Eyes, which is another band we saw at the Salt Shed.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, they're great. So,
Well, and they also have that sort of Laurel Canyon sound
Very
to them.
much, very much.
Also a bit of Eagles. I don't know if I like listening to Dawes last night. I was struck with some Eagles sounds.
I brought up a group once and was very excited about them, and I thought they sounded like old Eagles, and just got ripped mercilessly about the whole.
Is this the Sheepdogs?
This is the Sheepdogs.
Yeah, this might be a good time to remind everybody. And if you're listening on Spotify or like a podcast where you can't actually comment, go to YouTube. Like, we appreciate you listening on any format, but for these save the show voting, you'll need to go to YouTube to last week's show.
Don't make us do Sister Hazel.
Oh, it's coming.
Don't make us do Sister
And
Hazel.
if you can defend the show's pick of the Sheepdogs changing colors, then I will sit corrected. 10 votes. That's all we're asking for. We're just asking for 10 people. How many people are in the world today? And we only need 10 of them to come to your defense on this.
It's not a bad album. It's a nice. My Canadian friends out there, Sheepdogs are a good Canadian band, man.
Yeah, and if you're not sure which episode that is, it's the Automatic for the People Changing Colors episode. Episode 19, I suppose it is.
Yeah. Well, all right. You ready to flip this thing over?
Let's flip it.
We got a couple more messages, and we'll be right back.
Hey, two fat guys and an album fans. This is Diane Blackburn, realtor with Baird & Warner and proud sponsor of this podcast. I pride myself in being committed to serve as a trusted real estate advisor for all my clients. Whether you're looking to sell, buy, rent, or lease, feel free to reach out and let's chat about how we can work together to make it happen. If you're watching, scan the QR code for my website or give me a call at 630-638-1999. See you on the flip side.
Are you someone who needs help with their Instagram or TikTok? Well, you're in luck. LR Media is here to help. Email me at laurarose2003@aol.com to get started. Let's make your social media shine.
Welcome back. This is side 3, where we kind of talk about the Beyond Classic Rock, some album that kind of trying to introduce our classic rock fans to some deeper music, some some different music.
Some newer music,
Yeah.
perhaps.
And the album...
Some hidden gems, maybe.
Yeah, you didn't like him, John.
No, it can work in. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I think it fits. It's fluid.
It definitely appears to be. All right. So the album we picked is Pretty Odd.
Odd.
Yeah, Pretty Odd, which is weird, specifically for this album, because this is the album where Panic at the Disco lost their exclamation point.
Right, they lost an exclamation point and then added 2 periods to the album title. So they definitely have punctuation.
It's a punctuation
concerns.
forward band.
Yes.
Yes. And we picked this for this episode 20 because it complemented
Sgt.
Pepper very well.
Yes.
There's I don't even know how you...
They claim that they were not directly influenced by Sgt. Pepper.
Get out.
They claim this. Now, they don't deny, like, they love Sgt. Pepper. They love the Beatles. They acknowledge that the Beatles are an overarching influence on their music. But they claim they were not directly, like, trying to copy the album. And
have they listened to 9 in the Afternoon?
It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I just can only tell you what they say. But their thought process on it was very similar. Like they wanted to depart from their previous album. And they want to do it in much the same way the Beatles had decided to. So they're first of all, this album was 2008, and it's a US and UK too. It was a gold album in the United Kingdom. It was a platinum album in the United States. So they had success with it. But their previous album, which I don't have the name in front of me, it's Fever. It's just something Fever. It's a very long title, but all I can think of it is
a terrible album. I went back and listened.
You don't like the first album?
No.
Interesting. I actually like the first album better than this one. I like Panic at the Disco just fine.
Yeah.
But this is, while that was the Beatles' 8th album, this is only their 2nd. And so they'd had a very successful first album. But they were in this alt-rock, pop-punk, emo class genre.
Yeah, kind of trying that art rock kind of thing.
Yeah. And they rejected this emo label. They did not see themselves as an emo band at all. And they basically recreated themselves in that manner with this album to specifically not be emo. So they created a bunch of songs that are a bit more cheerful and whimsical. And being a Monkees lover, I think this actually approaches the Monkees a bit more than it does Sgt. Pepper. But there's definitely parallels. There's no question. And when I started listening to this album, because again, you can only compare the Beatles to the Beatles, and I had to make myself stop trying to compare it to Sgt. Pepper because it's just not fair.
No, I would agree, but and I think there's a couple of clunkers on this album, but I think it's worth. If I had to go to Rolling Stone Records with $5, I'd be hoping to bring an album of this quality home.
Yeah.
This is a good album. So 9 in the Afternoon, I think, is a day in a life, just repackaged, in a lot of skill.
Okay. Because you just. Okay. I'm just gonna let that slide because I don't have. I mean, I get the comparison.
Yeah.
It's definitely
listen to how it starts.
No, it's definitely a Beatles song. There are so many Beatles references in this entire album.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that, but to compare again, to try to say 9 in the Afternoon is a day in a life, I feel like we can't use those two things in the same sentence.
That's fair. And being you're a Beatle head, assume you take it far more personally than I would.
Probably.
But it's a really good song. I think Northern Downpour is a really good song.
That's one of my, yes. Those are the two songs that I like the most off the album.
Yeah, no, and I would say that, yeah, probably. And then The Piano Knows Something I Don't Know is also, I think, a good song. And I like Mad as Rabbits as well.
Okay. Piano Knows Something I Don't Know opens with a mellotron. We've talked about that before. That's the sound of Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting keyboard instrument because it plays tape loops. It's tape loops activated by a keyboard.
So when I was kind of looking into them a little bit, they were apparently a big fan of like ELO.
Oh, okay.
And they were kind of trying. They thought they were going toward ELO when they were doing this.
Right, because it's definitely more orchestral, for sure. There's horns and strings and all sorts of things. And quite honestly, ELO directly influenced by the Beatles. So, I suppose by association, they're still...
Yeah, so this is a contemporary review, and I thought it kind of interesting. Like any growing emo band, Panic wants to make a 70s style art rock epic.
Okay.
But where Chemical Romance aimed for Queen and the Killers imitated Bruce Springsteen, Panic goes for ELO circa Mr. Blue Skies.
Okay. Not sure why they wouldn't go directly to Sgt. Pepper, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I recommended this when we were talking about, so this is our 20th episode, so the zeros, the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, we're going to do a big album. So we talk about this, kind of pick everything together.
I do hear the ELO now that you mention it. And so I was saying it sounds more like the Monkees at times, but really maybe it's ELO. Like it has that cheeriness to it. It has that... I can kind of hear that now that you mention it. But having said that, it's so direct. Like even the first song, "We're So Starving," has like crowd noise and they're talking to the audience. Exactly how Sgt. Pepper opens. There's another vaudevillian. The Mountain in the Middle of the Cabins is a little vaudeville-ish. It reminds you of like Paul McCartney's "When I'm 64" a little bit, in style, not in sound necessarily. When the Day Met the Night has the Hindu Indian music influence on it. So, and then, like you said, a lot of the other songs in there probably more closely approach ELO. And honestly, to my ear, I was just thinking Monkees. Like, not quite the Beatles, but trying to sound in that psychedelic...
There's nothing wrong with the Monkees, man.
In that sort of psychedelic 60s pop sound.
Where the Beatles were making movies, the Monkees made a TV show.
Right. Now, I'm not going after the Monkees today. I'm going to let you have your... I
love the Monkees.
Have your time with them.
Yep. Okay. Brek, would you recommend this?
I think, the interesting thing for their fans, like just looking at different fan reviews and such, it seemed to be a really polarizing album, even with their own fans.
Really?
Like for a lot of people, this is their favorite Panic at the Disco album, and for a lot of people, it's their least favorite Panic at the Disco album. And I can kind of see that because it's not the same style. It's a completely different album. And so I think it's really interesting, especially only on your second album, to depart so far from your first album. I find that really interesting.
It's kind of a Beatles thing to do.
It is. But it did, honestly, it took them 4 or 5 albums before they really started to emerge in a different manner. It's got a couple good songs on it. I like 9 in the Afternoon. I like Northern Downpour as well. I think it's interesting as an album. It's not an album that I would listen to a lot. I don't know. It's not. But I could see where people would like it. It's like a 6 Fat Guys album for me. Like I think it's good. I think it's fine. I can understand where some people would really, really like it. And I think it's interesting that they made an album like this in 2008 that really was bold and adventurous in relation to what they were doing before. So I give them credit for that.
Yeah.
But I do think their first album, I really prefer their first album. I think the songwriting is much more clever. The lyrics are much more clever. And so for me, I would take their first album over this one.
I would. I think I agree with the Six Fat Guys. But I would say that I would pull out of that a couple of songs, like 9 in the Afternoon, Northern Downpour, and The Piano Knows Something I Don't Know. I think are really good kind of songs if you want to add to a playlist or you're looking for some music.
Yeah, I agree.
Some other Folkin' Around is a horrible song, but, you know. There's some clunkers
Sort of
here,
a country fiddle, like an attempted
but
country music.
terrible.
Yeah.
Leave that to Ringo.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a perfect album for me, but it's worth a listen. A couple of songs worth saving. I think it's fun how close some of these songs are kind of come to.
Oh yeah, it's
Sgt. Pepper.
interesting just to listen to it and just draw parallels because there's lots of parallels to be drawn between Sgt. Pepper and ELO and
to your point, to 2008 to do like a big psychedelic album's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. We'll have to leave that there and be right back because Chauncey's girlfriend's calling me and that scares me. Side 4, this is where we wrap this up. This is where the Maestro gives us his ranking, kind of puts in the order of his...
ranking all the albums that we've reviewed, covered already.
So we're now up to 20.
We're up to 20 albums.
And then on the tens, so episode 20, this is where the show gives its rankings.
And by the show, you mean you.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Where I also give my rankings. I do this just on the tens.
Just on the tens. So the Maestro, we're talking about Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles now.
We are. And does it?
The King is dead. Long live the King.
Yes.
Sgt. Pepper is currently the #1 ranking album on Two Fat Guys in an Album.
Wow.
Supplanting Moondance by Van Morrison, who has slipped to 2. And, I mean, again, this album, even Rolling Stone had them as their #1 album of all time in 2 previous polls. This is the album of albums. It's going to be a long time, I think, before anything comes close to supplanting this. So currently it's really just a battle for 2 right now going forward. But Sgt. Pepper firmly is #1. Moondance #2, The Doors #3, Wish You Were Here #4, Aqualung #5. We've talked about some really great albums.
Yeah, we have.
I don't know if you want me to keep going. You want the full 20, or do you want to just jump in right here?
I think that's probably good. I'm going to go 20 to 1.
You're counting it down.
I'm going to go backwards. Yeah.
Oh, this is exciting.
So yeah, my number 20 album is Sting's attempt at a jazz album, Dream of the Blue Turtle.
I tapped the cup. It's not a jazz album.
Number 19 is Joshua Tree by U2.
Okay.
Number 18 is American Beauty by the Grateful Dead.
All right. I mean, there's a lot of really great albums on this list, so it's hard to quibble, but it seems low.
Number 17 is Discipline by King Crimson. Number 16 is Brothers in Arms, which is the first of the albums that actually hit my top 100.
Oh.
Brother in Arms comes in at 83. So that's number 16. Number 15 is Moondance.
Much lower than 2.
Much lower than 2.
Sadly.
14 is Morning Glory by Oasis. 13 is Breakfast in America by Supertramp. 12 is The Violent Femmes.
Okay.
11 is Sunset Tree by the Mountain Goats.
I have them at 10, so this is the first time that we're in
kinda,
the ballpark.
Yeah. 10, Automatic for the People by REM.
Okay.
9 is Moving Pictures by Rush.
Yeah.
Number 8, I can hear this already. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
That's incorrect, but go on. But I know where you're coming with it also. I mean, here we had said, I think yesterday, how many landmark albums does a band get? The Beatles are going to have a few.
Yeah, I have several Beatles albums above this.
Right, which is your prerogative.
7 is The Doors by The Doors. 6 is Wish You Were Here. 5 is Bat Out of Hell.
Ahead of Sgt. Pepper.
4 is Aqualung. You have Moondance at number 2. You have nothing to speak of. 3 is Blonde on Blonde by Dylan. 2 is London Calling by The Clash. And the number 1 on my list is OK Computer by Radiohead.
Oh, my goodness. Such a crowd follower you are. I will say I have, so by decade, Sgt. Pepper obviously is leading the 60s. Moondance is my top-ranked album from the 70s. Violent Femmes is my top-ranked album currently from the 80s. Automatic from the People is my top-ranked 90s album. So I have that ahead of OK Computer. And The Sunset Tree is my current top-ranked album.
Of the century.
Of the century.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to leave it there, and you're welcome to argue away with the 2 lists.
Yeah.
We will have both of the lists kind of up there for you to peruse. We'd like to thank at this point our production team from Chauncey from Smidge Films, our PR team from LR Media, our sponsors Deeper Connection Counseling and Diane Blackburn from Beard and Warner, as well as Smidge Films and LR Media. Feel free to contact us, leave a chat on YouTube. You can like and follow us on Spotify and Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. I am Fat Guy 1.
Fat Guy 2.
See you next time. Elliot is a bit overserved, then they wouldn't let him in the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Jacksonville?
Or Pensacola or wherever.
Or Pensacola.
Yeah. Too drunk for Pensacola.
Yeah, it's saying something.